In this particular video, I want to talk about how to explode your traffic and how to drive traffic to your blog. There are many different ways and many different avenues, hundreds of different marketing methods. However, I've narrowed it down to just a few that relate to blogs. Now, a lot of these are free, you don't have to pay anything, but there are ones that I know that will definitely help you. The first and most obvious thing is that you want to make sure that on your blog that your readers can get your RSS feed so they can add it to their RSS feed readers like Google Reader or Yahoo or whatever like that. And then it's easy for them to subscribe to your list, whether you're using an RSS to email type service or you've got an actual subscription form and you're using Aweber to do that. Just make sure that it's easy for your readers to get those feeds or to sign up on your list. That way you can get them to come back to your site by emailing them or updating them. The next thing I'm going to talk about is blog directories. There's many directories out there that include blogs, and people go to these directories, but not only that, you get a lot of one-way backlinks to your blog. So not only does that help you when people visit those directories, but it helps you as far as search engine ranking goes. And then we'll talk about submitting your articles to article directories, which link back to your blog. We'll talk about associated content, which is a large site which you get lots of traffic from. And then we'll talk about trackbacks. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's talk about blog directories. Whenever you submit your blog to blog directories, RSS feed directories, and things like that, you not only get a one-way backlink, but people that actually search for blogs, a lot of times they look at these directories. So not only are you getting traffic, but you're getting one-way backlinks. When I started my own blog a long time ago, I used this method and it worked wonders. Just by submitting your blog to about 4 to 5 or 6 different blog directories, it really helped me get indexed quickly into the search engines. And not only that, I actually got some good traffic as well. So this is just one small method that we're going to use. Now, if you don't know of any blog directories, I would recommend just by going to Google and typing in blog directories or something like submit to blog directories. One that I would recommend is Google's blog search. If you go to blogsearch.google.com/ping, as you can see here, you can submit your blog if your blog is not listed in their results. Another good site is icerocket.com. And if you scroll down and at the right hand side it says submit a blog, you can submit your blog there as well. blogsearchengine.com. And if you just go to Google, like I said earlier, and you type in submit to blog directories, you'll find a lot of places that have the top 20 or top 10 blog directories to submit to. Now, if you go to this site here, you'll be forwarded to this page, and you'll notice that there's a large amount of directories here. Now, submitting to each and every directory is going to be very time consuming. I would recommend just submitting to the main ones, just because it does not always mean by submitting to hundreds of blog directories will you get a lot of traffic back. A lot of times you can submit to 5 or 10 blog directories, but do it to the main ones and the bigger ones, and it'll be just as good as submitting it to 100 of them. The next method I want to talk about is article marketing. Now, I'm not going to dive extremely deep into article marketing, but if you go to a site like easingarticles.com, because you're writing blog articles and article posts for your blogs, then you pretty much can take that and use those articles that you have written and put it into ezine-articles.com. The nice thing about ezine-articles.com is it's a huge site with lots and lots of articles, and because of that, lots and lots of people go to it. And you'll notice that if you do a search on many of these articles and just pick one and you highlight the title and you put it in Google, most likely it's going to be indexed into Google. So a lot of the articles that come in here are indexed by Google, but not only that, a lot of people are coming here to find more information. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with article marketing is when you submit your article, not only do you get to submit your article, but you get a link back to your site. So in this case, what I want you to do is create articles, or take the articles that you have written and post the article so that it gets approved. But you'll notice that at the bottom here, there's a little explanation about the author, and you get a one-way backlink to your website. And sort of like the concept that I mentioned earlier with posting to 5 popular blog directories, that you get more links from other smaller directories. In fact, a lot of small article directories feed and take articles from ezine-articles.com. So just by submitting to this site and submitting to other sites like goarticles.com, you get a lot of backlinks and a lot of traffic to your site. So now that you understand that, let's go on to associated content. Associated content is a large website that holds a lot of information, sort of like Ezine Articles. The one nice thing about associated content is that they pay you for submitting your articles. What you could do is write some content and even refer to your blog as long as it's good information. And as associated content, you also get a author resource box. So if you go to an article, like for example this article, you can see more about the author and the full profile of the author. So you get a profile that explains more about you, so you can build your credibility. You can also add your business links. Now let's talk about trackbacks. If you're using WordPress, then trackbacks are very easy to do. If you don't know what a trackback is, basically, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go to blogs and you'll notice that there are comments on those blogs that really don't make a lot of sense, but you'll see a link that goes back to another website. For example, I'm going to open up WordPad here so I can show you the difference between a comment and a trackback. For example, a comment would be a direct comment, so whoever posted a comment would say something like that. A trackback, on the other hand, would not look like a comment. It would look something like this, from this point to this point. And it's something that doesn't really make sense, but that's what a trackback is. Trackback happens when two blogs basically cross-reference each other. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that trackbacks don't necessarily help your search engine optimization purposes, but for direct traffic purposes. So basically, think about blogger number A. Blogger A, which is me, I find that blog B has a good post on it. So I like the content on blog B. So as blogger A, I will create a blog post. And within that blog post, I might mention blog B's in that blog post, and I'll link to blog B. But in order to create a trackback, I will go in WordPress, create the article post or blog post, and then send a trackback to that site that I'm referencing, and hopefully that site will reference me back. And you'll notice there's a comments area, but you'll also notice that there's a trackback URL. As blogger A, I would take that trackback URL and include it with my blog post in WordPress. Now I'm going to show you all this and all the steps so that it's a little more clear, but basically if I did a track back, it would show up somewhere here where the comments are. But instead of looking like a regular comment, it would look like something like this. And while people are looking at the article on blog B and they see my track back, sometimes they can click on it and they'll get a full recommendation or something that I found of interest from blog B because I'm blogger 8. So with that said, I'm going to go to WordPress here and then I'm going to create a new post. Click on add new post. So what I would do here is, let's say I like this post, or not necessarily that post, but I choose one that I like. Let's say I'm scrolling down here and I see the exercise tip of the week. So I click on that. Before you actually do a track back, you need to make sure that that specific blog allows you to do a track back, because some bloggers do turn off track backs. To know that if it's open or not, usually if you go down to the bottom, you'll notice it says track back URL, because you're going to need this link here later on. And especially if comments are open, then post on that. If trackbacks and comments are not open, then I would recommend just ignoring that blog. So let's say, for example, that this guy talks about a certain exercise tip. I could say exercise tips. I enjoyed the exercise tip, and I could talk about, okay, today we're going to talk about and then I go on to talking about the exercise tip. But what I do is I reference the tip from blog B site because I'm blogger A. So I enjoyed the exercise tip from this area, which I can copy Dan's blog, and then I could link that by highlighting that, clicking on insert link, and then inserting that link, and once I've linked to his blog, what I need to do is, that's basically what Dan is going to receive whenever I submit my track back. Because you got to remember that blog authors still need to approve that track back. The next thing I need to do is get the trackback URL, which is this URL here. If I highlight that and copy that, and then I go back here and under send trackbacks, I enter that URL. After you've entered your trackback here, then you can add some tags, add it to a specific category, and then publish the post. What will happen is Dan will receive an email in it stating that I recommended or linked to his website. And if he approves it, then the trackback lands on the area where the comments are. And what happens there is I get a link back to my blog. So if I find a blog with a high amount of interaction, that's better, because when people are reading Dan's blog, they'll see my trackback and want to see more about what I had to say about Dan's blog. And as you can see, you're getting direct traffic here, which in a lot of times is quite powerful in itself.